Well, hello there, YouTube. What's going on? This is Mark bringing another video, and today we have a lot to discuss. I covered the 1.25.0 patch notes the other day. Those are really just brief notes, though. So today we're going to go pretty in depth into everything here. We are actually going to leave the data for another video because there's so much data to cover, so much to talk about with the data that needs to be a whole separate video. But let's just get right into this one, the 1.25.0 update. So obviously, Ranked Season 5 is going to be coming out. Huge weapon balance changes as well as the new rank rewards, which is pretty cool. Obviously you can see here, what they had in mind. So for Ranked Season 5, we had a few goals in mind. We want to address some community function feedback based on the faction weapon split introduced in 1.17.0. Basically, they're changing up the early and the eco rounds as well as the range combat opportunities. So, pistols, SMGs, shotguns, and then you can see that they group it into snipers and other damage over distance balances. So, they're introducing a couple minor changes to each gun and as well as how they're played and maybe how you can buy different guns at different points in the game. So it's interesting to me that they said our goal is to set in motion themes for future seasons. I don't exactly know what that means. What is a theme that you want to recur here? But I'm curious. That's something that maybe they can expand on in the future. And obviously they're mentioning competitive esports, so good thing that Critical Ops has a focus on the esports. But let's get into it. You guys care more about the juice of the actual weapon redesign and things like that itself. So looking at it, right, you can see the SVD. Basically, if you move, you're donezo. They kind of changed it so that now it is very inaccurate when you move, so you won't be getting any jump shot SVDs anymore. It's going to be very hard. The damage I thought was already on par with the U ratio, so I didn't really think it really mattered there. And then there's first shot accuracy, which is very nice. I mean, I feel like I already had that already. Inaccuracy increases with each consecutive shot after the second. Makes sense, kind of like the Deagle. There's some sort of recoil there. And then they said that the SVD design is based on a lightweight, really powerful marksman rifle. They saw that it's underutilized in games, probably in ranked, and just tracking how it's used in the circuit as well. And they kind of want to redesign it. So basically, it's a different learning curve from the U ratio, and it makes sniper gameplay more exciting is what they want to happen. I'm not sure if this will actually be used more often. This seems like a kind of a better M14, but we'll see, right? We'll see if this actually gets used that often. Now, one of the biggest changes here are the SMGs. So obviously, they've kind of buffed almost all the SMGs. They've made it a little bit lower for the price, right? They've decreased the price of both the MP5 and the MPX by $100. They've increased the fire rate of the MP5, which is awesome, and more consistent power, so damage over distance. The MP5 is definitely going to be used a lot more. I think we're going to see the MP7 kind of dropped off. $1,200. That's a very small amount of money. That's probably one of the cheapest non-pistol weapons in the game, if not the cheapest non-pistol weapon in the game. And then the MPX as well. Weapon shaking while shooting decreased a little bit. So that I think that means recoil. I'm not sure. Weapon shaking while shooting, that's what I thought recoil meant, but maybe they just phrased it a different way. And then it's cheaper as well. So basically they want MP5 and the MPX to be used more. I think Critical Force is very much on the balance of wanting to have all weapons used evenly, which is interesting because if you look at games like CSGO, where many people kind of see similarities between Critical Ops and CSGO, there's a lot of guns that are never used, and I think Valve is perfectly okay with that. Valve, who makes CSGO, that is. So Critical Force taking a more overall approach. They want all the guns to be used as much as possible. So we're going to move on here to the Deagle, as well as the MR96. You can see here, same deathly power, more consistent recoil. So there's more consistent power, right? It doesn't drop off as much over time or over distance for the damage. And then there's more controllable recoil shake. You know what that means? We're going to be using the Deagle a lot more. The Deagle is already a very popular weapon. Probably GSR is the most popular P250 weapon, but still, or P250 pistol. But I think the Deagle is still going to be really powerful and very heavily used now. People will try and go for Deagle shots as much as they can. People are already buying Deagles on pistol rounds, right? They're not even opting for any nades. They just go for the Deagle. So we'll see if this pans out positively for the Deagle in the future. And then the MR96, right? It says more power, less fire rate. So it's more consistent power, right? Same thing as a Deagle, but they've decreased the fire rate, which is interesting because, I mean, the Deagle is a very quick fire rate already. You can spam that thing, and they've decreased the recoil. They're saying it's a little brother to the Deagle. I understand that the MR is a bit cheaper, right? So you can actually buy nades when you buy the MR, but I mean, it's a pistol at the end of the day, right? A nade can make or break a round, but most likely it's not going to, depending on what skill set you are in the game. And at most skill sets, if you're not the very highest, it won't really matter. So I don't think the MR96 is going to be used that much. It says both weapons have been pushed towards a higher tier, able to compete with more ARs in range combat, which I think makes sense. So these changes are aimed more towards competitive games, I think is what they're saying, and people who are actually more skilled at the game, because these pistols are not easy to use, right? Getting a headshot with the MR96 is not easy. You don't have a lot of places you can mess up because you only have 6 bullets in the clip, or in the mag, or it's not a clip, whatever, the chamber, right? So I think they're really aiming it for high skilled players and the upper echelon of players, which will be interesting to see. And then the dual MTX, right? More consistent recoil, minor recoil reduction to make controlling easier. This gun's already insane, the most expensive set of pistols in the game, and the fact that they've reduced the recoil means that I think it's just going to be even more used. It's one of the only automatic pistols along with the XD, so we'll see. Or no, they're all automatic. I don't know what I'm saying, but no, I don't. I'm just gonna stop speaking about pistols and what type of fire mode they are. But the dual MTX obviously is kind of like a laser when it comes to the pistols. So the fact that they've decreased that, I think we might see that used a little bit more. Now, I mentioned this a little bit as well when I made that initial video, but shotguns are going to scare me, right? They've improved their armor penetration and their shot effectiveness over close to medium ranges, which means the M18A7 and the FP6, they've increased their armor penetration and they have higher distance over range. Same with the Super 90, right? They've increased both, but they've decreased the fire rate. I'm terrified because that means anytime I go around a corner, or if I'm just trying to peek wide out of a corner and I see a shotgun, I'm probably going to die. The FP6 was very inconsistent before, and now it is more consistent, which makes me a little sad because it's like a $1,100 weapon, which you can just mow people down with if you can get enough shots off. So shotguns, be wary. Definitely be wary of shotguns post-update. Check all your corners, flash everything, nade everything, because you're going to see a lot of shotguns on anti-eco rounds, okay? That's what's going to be happening, I think, regardless if you're playing ranked or competitive. But that's that for the shotguns. I'm going to skip past the data and we're going to jump on down further. All right, past the data now for ranked season 5 rewards. Obviously, lots of cool rewards again. This is kind of the same thing as we've seen before, but obviously you have to reach that rank as well as get the amount of victories required at that rank, and then you can get some more prizes. You can see here, just for being better at the game, you get more credits, more cases, better cases, and then some exclusive skins. So yeah, these are what these skins look like for the U ratio for both the Master and Spec Ops ranks. So pretty nice. I honestly think the Master rank looks better. I like that purple more than the gold personally, but it's fine. These are some of the small prizes that they're giving to players who reach these ranks. We'll see if they give cooler prizes eventually. Like, I think for Elite Ops, it'd be nice if you got like a skin that had your number on it at the end of it. So like towards the end of a season, you would get a lot of things that could potentially a lot of tryhards, I think, in Elite Ops. Maybe a lot of cheaters, which is not great, but I mean, that can, we can test out the anti-cheat system and things like that. But and one of the last few things here, the new game mode Elimination. This is a pretty cool game mode here. It basically has a 3v3 round-based elimination match. It's kind of like TDM, but without the defuse, right? So it combines the best parts from TDM and defuse into a competitive mode. No respawns during the round, just fast action until one team takes home the win. And I think it's interesting because you can see here all the game mode details. Elimination team-based game mode, right? No respawns. You get Kevlar and helmet as a default gear. You can get any weapon, and the freeze time's 10 seconds. You got 15 seconds to buy, and then you just have to eliminate the entire team. So it's TDM, it's diffuse, but there's no bomb sites. So just kill everyone as fast as you can, which I think is really cool. I actually am very pumped for this. This is all gun skill, all aim. I don't think you have grenades for this, but I'm pumped for this. I actually really am looking forward to this game mode. I probably will play it quite a bit. And if we can host our own lobbies of this, please, Critical Force, please let us host our own lobbies, so then we don't have to like randomly search, because then I could do this with subs. You guys would be happy. I'm telling you. I know. You guys would be very happy, all right? And I think it would be great for content creators to kind of play this kind of somewhat competitive, but not really competitive type mode with their fans. It's basically just who can frag out the most, right? So I'm very pumped for this one. And lastly, we have the new map of Warehouse. It'll be introduced in this new update. It has that same theme to the brewery and raid maps, right? So it's a small map, great for team fights, kind of good in any game mode, in the custom games as well. So this will be permanent. You can see here some screenshots. It looks like the old brewery that they've kind of put back and just made it into a TDM map, which I think is very cool. And then some other map changes, right? So canals, they fixed some reported issues since the 1.24.0 update. They've updated colliders. Now you can't actually get the bomb stuck anymore. Power boxes are now penetrable. So even less places to be safe on canals, which I'm always a little bit scared about canals just sitting anywhere because you're just going to get donked. Now you can get donked in other places. And they fixed some occlusion issues, which means objects would disappear. And they fixed that leaky ceiling in the tunnel. So rain no longer appears in the tunnel, which is cool. For plaza and heat, they fixed that in-game advertising. If you guys didn't realize, they've been placing in-game advertisements there. So it will now have proper lighting when there's no in-game ad displayed. And then airplanes are no longer as fast as fighter jets, which I didn't really notice that in the beginning, or I don't think anyone really noticed that, but that's fine. For port and cargo, right, the forklift has been updated. Forklift no longer has that small gap, so you probably can't see over towards mid anymore, but it is now penetrable, so they can spam back. So I think they saw that the coalition side was too OP. You could just sit there and just spam through, and I don't think that is the case anymore. Concrete bases of light pillars are now penetrable. Very big change. Now, when you sit down and kind of try and take cover, there's nothing there to really help you. So that's a big change, guys. Be wary of port playing, and now that you can get spammed basically from anywhere, and any other objects that aren't in the gameplay area are now penetrable. So kind of interesting, right? I think that means you can kind of shoot through walls all across port. So we might see some interesting wall bangs, collaterals, things like that. Port will be a scary map to play, I think, and same with canals. But either way, we're going on to raid now. So they've added an additional plank to the crate next to be long. I guess this is to reduce bullet damage from wall banging the green crate. Good, thank God. Every time you sat behind that green crate and be long, you would die instantly. I would die. Literally so many clips of me just dying there. And then there's now bomb stuck spots gone. And then for the tutorial, I mean, I don't really think people really play the tutorial, but they've updated the lighting, and then they've updated the buy area indicators in the minimap as well. For other things they've fixed, they've obviously worked on anti-cheat, skins, gameplay bugs, UI localization, and many more. So that's it for this update. Tons of stuff in this update. Let me know what you think about the new map, the new game mode, what you think about the new changes for the guns. It's a lot of stuff. It is just a lot of stuff in general. So I'm hoping you guys enjoy this one as well as much as I do. I'm excited, and once I get gameplay of it, I will show you as soon as I can. And the next video will probably be the data. So stay tuned for that one. I'm excited. We're going to go over a lot of stuff in the data. All right. See you guys next time.